Hello, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I wanted to take this time to look back at 2025 and to look forward to 2026. So I have a few statistics, but before I start, I have my notes so in case I'm looking down. Don't judge your reading to my reading or my reading to your reading. Everybody reads at a different rate. Everybody processes things differently. All of that. I read a ridiculous number of books because I had the time and because I'm overly excited about reading again. I've said it a few times before that I was in a 5.5-year reading slump and I'm sort of making up for lost time. So, according to Storygraph, I read 197 books this year. A lot of those were picture books. I read a lot of picture books in the beginning of the year. I almost said school year. In the beginning of the year, I read a lot of picture books. So that's some of that. According to Goodreads, I think I ended up at about 185-ish, something like that. I don't know what the difference is. The only thing I can think of is that Storygraph is counting some of my DNFs, the ones that I started putting the dates in. So I'll figure that out. But my average for the year was 3.98. 3.98. That's really good. Now I do put a lot of 4 stars on books. I really do. But they're not undeserved. They are based on how I felt when I finished the book. And I think that's fair. August was my worst star rating month with an average of 3.8. And April was my best month with a 4.3 star average. So that's really good. I don't even remember what I read in April. I read 123 new to me authors, which I love that. Not just because, mainly because I didn't read for so long. There are all these new authors. It's like a whole new world for me. I'm really enjoying it. There are almost every one of them I would read again. That's really good. 81 books. 81 books were part of a series. Now, 12 of them were my series of unfortunate events, so that was a chunk right there. But I did finish I finished several series, actually. 5 books were technically rereads for me, though I think they were all picture books. 14 DNFs. I did not finish 14 books according to Storygraph, but I don't think that's accurate either, because I think before I started the channel, I wasn't putting the date into the book when I started a book. According to Storygraph, I average 2 days per book, and that is not true at all. I tend to read a book, try to get into it, make sure I'm going to continue with the book before I even add it into Storygraph or Goodreads. But in the beginning, I would enter it in and just say DNF instead of tracking my reading progress so that it knew that I had started it in like April and then DNF'd it in May or something like that. So I'll be better with that in 2026, but there we go, 14 DNFs. I had a goal of reading 50 of my own physical TBR books in 2025. I wanted to get to 60, but 50 was my absolute. I had to get to 50. I think I got about 60, somewhere between 65 and 70, so I am thrilled with that. It's my goal again for 2026 to read 50. I'm not going to try and get to 60 or anything, but I do want to try to really keep just the best of the best so that I don't have quite so many books and send these all back out into the world. Only 6% was nonfiction, which is something I want to work on, but also not entirely accurate because, for example, I'm reading this. It is The Story of More, How We Got to Climate Change and Where We Go From Here by Hope Jahren. It's not a big book, but I'm not necessarily planning on reading the whole thing. I'm probably just going to read the sections that interest me. And I do that with gardening books and nutrition books and things like that. So that's nonfiction. 6% were read cover to cover. Now, everybody else who's been doing a review have been doing their top 10 books or their top 25 and 25 books or something like that. I've talked about the books that I've liked already. I feel like you've seen them already. Instead, I kind of came up with awards. And I don't think my editor my editing thing will let me put any stickers or anything, so I can't actually put trophies and blue ribbons. My favorite series that I read in the year. And I tried to put a different book into each category. Favorite series. I put down Impossible Creatures as my favorite series for middle grade, mainly because it's still ongoing, and even though I've had issues with each book, by the time we get to the heightened action at like 60 to 75%, I cannot put that book down and I want to keep going. I think they are well written. There are just some parts that I haven't particularly enjoyed, but I know I'm also not the target audience. So I put down Impossible Creatures. For young adult, I kind of toyed with Divine Rivals versus The Naturals, but I had to do The Naturals because I read all 4 books this year. I really liked that friend group, and so I picked The Naturals. And then adult has to be Assistant to the Villain series. It just tickles my funny bone. It's just the perfect series for me. It's so over the top, silly. I just love it. Favorite standalones was harder. I picked Room 1 by Andrew Clements as my standalone winner, just because the other books that I had given 5 stars to were part of series, and I gave 5 stars to Room 1. I just absolutely adored it. Before I started my channel, I believe, I read The Reappearance of Rachel Price. I really enjoyed that. I toyed with giving it to Our Infinite Fates, but I think I'm going to stick with Rachel Price. Reappearance of Rachel Price. For the adult book, Welcome to the Hunamdong Bookshop. I just love that book, and I think I would reread it. Books that I recommend. Lost Track of Time is just another one of those silly wordplay middle grade books that is just fun. It is absolutely fun, and I do recommend that book highly. Scythe is a book that I recommend too. I found it very readable. I found it well thought out, and I can't wait to keep going in the series. And for adults, I picked Anxious People, which was actually my favorite Bachman book of the year. Books that were a surprise to me, middle grade, was The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. I'm not going to talk, I've talked about it in other videos. I'm going to talk about it on my Newberry Books Middle Grade Monday video, so we'll go with that. Nobody in Particular is my young adult pick. I really enjoyed this book. I was really surprised. I figured I would like it, but I did really like that book. And the adult one was Village Library Demon Hunting Society, which I did not expect to like. I don't know why I was reading it when I didn't think I was going to like it, but everybody was talking about it at the time. I generally don't like it when our lead character is a senior citizen. That was the first time I'd actually really liked that. I don't generally like demon hunting because that usually means there's a lot of religion involved. And though there was some religion mentioned in it, it was very inclusive. So I really liked that. And I actually listened to the Village Library Demon Hunting Society. I listened to it. I can't wait to read it. I want to physically read it. The ones that live rent-free in my head. That was easy. That's the Journey of Coyote Sunrise. I think I'm missing a word in there. The Journey of Coyote Sunrise. I always just say Coyote Sunrise. That book, the ending of that book, I think about all the time. It does live rent-free in my head. Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I think about, honestly, I loved the book, but the audio production was so good that I think about that all the time. Like, just, I can't wait to get started on that. I actually already have book 2. And then for the adult book, Sorcery and Small Magics. What's funny is I really liked the book. I don't actually think about the book that much, but I think about the next one coming out. Like, I can't wait to read the next one to see what happens. So I find that interesting. So it's really the book 2 that I know nothing about that's living rent-free in my head. My final award is the most impactful book. And I don't have one for each category. I only have adult titles. I did only have one title, but I have 2 runner-ups. And that's Reformatory and then Chain Gang All-Stars. But the most impactful book was Blood Over Brighthaven, and I need the whole world to read it, and I need to talk to people about it, and I just absolutely loved that book. That was the most impactful book to me in 2025. So let me show you my reading journal. I'm not I'm not into spending look, if you want to buy the all those diaries and journals, I'm happy for you. If you want to spend a ton of time coloring in everything, go for it. I am not artistic. I spent 25 cents on a composition notebook. This is how I do my spreads. This is what I've ended up on. So here's October and December. You can see how I write those out. Here's my 26 and 26 TBR list. These are the books that I own that I want to read. And my 26 and 2026 library books that I want to read, because I'm crazy and I decided to do 2 lists. I'm going to read a classic each month, or I'm going to try to. And so I wanted to keep track of those, and my translated books. Like I said, I'm going to try and read 50 of my physical TBR, but I also want to physically read about 50 books. Here's my very high-tech series tracker. I'm doing the books and Lala buzzword title, and I wrote down buzz cover just for abbreviation. Those 2 challenges. I've already done a couple of books. I wish I had taken pictures before, but that's all right. Little sneak peeks for you. I'm also doing an A to Z challenge. I wanted to do an A to Z challenge, but I didn't know what to do, and so I talked it over with my daughter, and we agreed that an author one, because I'm already tracking titles by author name. A to Z challenge. Why not? I wanted to keep track of the books that I'm reading that are published in 2026. I want to read a lot of newer books because I want something to vote on in the Goodreads Choice Awards, and no other reason than that. I want to read more nonfiction. I'm not planning on reading a ton, but you know how like in the middle of the night you have a great idea and you're like, okay, I have to remember that? There was supposed to be something else in the middle of the page. I thought of 3 things: nonfiction and graphic novels, but there was also a 3rd thing that would have gone on the same page as nonfiction. I don't remember it for anything. I left a couple of blank pages in case I want to add anything else, like the fact that I'm just starting the 75 booked challenge. I'm doing it with my own rules. I basically want to sit down and physically read a book a minimum of 3 times a week. And if I'm doing an audiobook, I need to be doing at least 30 minutes of housekeeping while I'm doing the audiobook. So very easy to do, but I do want to primarily focus on my own physical TBR because I am trying to get through them and I want to unhaul a bunch of books. I'm only on like day 3 at the time of recording this, so let's see how well I do. So I did leave a few pages blank in case I want to put anything else in there. But here's my January page, which just has my TBR for the month of January, which was in my video. I think everything in there is in my video. And that is my reading journal. I started this, my first pages are terrible. At first I was doing like summaries, a quick little paragraph of summaries. That didn't last long. I don't even know what this is all about. So this ought to last me a couple more years. I'm happy with that. So looking forward to 2026, I have a few things that I have learned. For one, I am surprisingly comfortable talking to the camera and talking to you guys. So that's a little weird for anybody who knows me. Like seriously. I have been enjoying my LGBTQIA+ books and my young adult books, and I did not read enough of either, so I need more of those in my life. I really want to read more memoirs. So that's part of the reason why I added the nonfiction page. And the other note that I have is that I've learned that high fantasy is not for me, which is not entirely true. I actually read several high fantasy books that I really enjoyed. I know that I need to not buy into the hype, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned. I've been enjoying reading again, and this has been so much fun, and being here with you guys it's just amazing. It is absolutely amazing to me. I am so grateful that you guys are out there, that anybody is watching my videos. And I'm going to keep doing this. I'm just going to keep having fun. I'm going to keep doing this as long as it is fun. I would love to hear from you. So that's my look back and my look forward. I can't wait. I'm trying really hard right now to not overdo it for January. I feel like reading all of it right now because I'm very excited for the books that I picked out. And I just can't wait. It's going to be a good reading year. Thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.